Both occupants were extricated using the jaws of life. Police said a doctor pronounced both of the men, ages 21 and 28, dead on the scene. And so that is a really rough situation. And one of the persons who was affected, who lost her son in that incident, was my good friend Zelly Hall. And so that sort of broke me. When I realized who it was, it really messed with me. They both men were on their way to work. They worked for BPL. Or they just gotten jobs, just gotten employed at PPL, or one of them, and so they were on their way to work, and they ended up in a very tragic accident. Now, there is a narrative going around that to suggest that these men were avoiding a pothole when they got into the accident. I don't know that this is true. But by all accounts, and based on what we've seen, we all believe that speed did play a factor in that accident. This is a delicate situation, so I want to handle it carefully, but I want to say this, that you can't speed and avoid potholes. You can only do one. You can't do both. You can't speed and avoid potholes because if you're speeding and you're trying to avoid potholes, you're trying to get yourself into an accident. Now, that doesn't change the fact that they should not have had the issue of the potholes, and they should not even have been able to have an excuse about the potholes, because the potholes should have been patched. There's no reason why those potholes were not patched. And there's no reason why Clay Sweeting is shirking his duties, or, well, not necessarily Clay. The ministers, the Ministry of Work staff is shirking their duties and not making sure that the roads are patched. Now, I know that there's some issue with them, between them and Bahama Striping, where Bahama Striping or Caribbean Pavement Solutions, they are the persons who are paying persons or handling these contracts with the potholes. And so somebody's at fault if the potholes did play a factor in this accident, because it's not proven. It is not established that pothole played a factor in this accident as far as I'm aware. But the thing is, they should not have had that excuse, because the potholes should have been patched. You understand what I'm saying to you? And these roads are quite a mess, because just day before yesterday, we were riding into Bannerman Town, and there was somebody in a vehicle riding in front of us, and they were speeding and also trying to avoid potholes at the same time. You cannot do both. It is very dangerous. Take your time and go around the pothole, or just go over the pothole and speed, but you can't do both. And I'm not encouraging you to speed. You should be driving slow in these communities. These roads are risky to be speeding on. It's not even wise to speed over potholes, because if one of them hit your tire really bad, you could get in a bad accident, and that's you. You understand what I'm saying to you? And so right now, we are in a sad situation where we've lost 2 of our sons, and it is difficult having to deal with this situation. I'm going to urge persons to please drive cautiously and carefully. The accident in Nassau that took 2 of our sons in Lower Bogue, free speed played a factor in both of those incidents. We need to slow down.